As you might know by now, everyone is in the consumer space. Everyone's trying to create the new AI app, the new AI SaaS, the new tool that's going to scale, that's going to get a bunch of users, sell for $20 billion, whatever it is. And everyone is now clocking again that distribution is the main differentiating factor when trying to, be competitive in a market, when trying to get your competitive advantage in a market, because it's never been easier to ship tools, to ship new apps, but it's also never been easier to fail. Right? So if you don't know who I am, my name is Alex. I'm the co-founder of Plutus Media. We've worked with over 150 apps, web apps, tools, all consumer. And we've done over 12 million signups, downloads for clients, over 75,000 posts on TikTok, Instagram, all across social media with short form. And I'm just recording this raw video in the hopes of giving you some insight on how to actually make campaigns like these successful, right? So in my opinion, there's 4 moving parts that really make a campaign successful when it comes to UGC, which are the creator, the format, the feedback, and the channels, right? And all of those have a lot of different things to be said about them. So let's start with the creator. And I'll try to make this short and as simple as possible for you guys. So with the creator, it's literally, where are you getting your creators from? How are you training them? What kind of resources are you giving them? What kind of information are you giving them? So starting with the beginning of where are you getting them from? This is the same, or these are the same mechanisms as getting leads, as trying to get new customers for your business, right? So from a B2B standpoint, it's just easier to transfer those skills. But if your experience is in product or tech, I understand that it might be harder. It might sound like this huge issue, but it's not. So how do you get creators? You can do outreach. So you can reach out to creators on different platforms. It can be over Instagram. It can be over TikTok DMs. It can be over cold emails. There's a bunch of things within each channel that will either make it successful or a failure. So starting with, for example, Instagram and TikTok DMs. One thing we've seen works really well is if you're doing Instagram DMs, the size of your account matters. So if you have an account that's already established, that already has social proof with, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of followers, you'll get much better response rates, right? Otherwise, it just looks spammy, just looks like spam. So then there's the whole copywriting side of things, which is how you write the message, but you just want to be value driven. So you want to send messages that explain what you're offering to creators, stuff like, paid promo. Hey, name, so your content, loved it. We're looking to pay you to create content for our app. Can we jump on a call? And then you have the kind of funnel, and I'll break that down. But yeah, so value driven, and with Instagram, it's important that you have a big account. I mean, you can buy one and just rebrand it to whatever your brand is, or your personal brand, whatever you want, but the size of it and the social proof matters. So what I would do is I would either grow an account with content, with faceless content, or with your own content, which obviously will take a while, or I would just try and purchase a bigger account that's pre-existing in a niche, and just post 2 or 3 reels breaking down your app, your team, what you do, just so it looks legit and people actually know who you are, right? On TikTok, on the other hand, and by the way, like on Instagram, what you would do is just obviously then send messages every day, 50, 100, 200 messages every day, depending on how big you want to go. The whole thing, the whole concept you need to understand is the more personalized the message, the better your response rates will be. The more people will respond to your message, right? So the less personalized, the more, kind of mass outreach you need to do. And this is true for any channel, okay? So the other thing is, the harder it is to find the creator, the person you're reaching out to, the better response rates you'll also get. So if you go for, the lists that everyone has access to when it comes to creators, most likely they get messages every day from spammy accounts. So they're more skeptical. They're more likely to just ignore you. Okay. So those are kind of the moving parts you need to take into consideration. There's a world of things we can talk about when it comes to outreach, but these are the basics, right? So I would do Personalized messages, manual, about 100 a day to creators that you actually search for. So you search for keywords on Instagram, you find creators around the 5 to 50,000 followers, you reach out to them directly, and you try and get them on a call so you can explain, what your offer is. And then, yeah, essentially that would be IG. Then on TikTok, I mean, it's pretty much the same thing as I just described for Instagram. There's just one caveat, which is on TikTok, what works really well is, doing mass outreach. So doing a lot of volume and telling them, hey, DM me on IG, and telling them what the link or the of the Instagram account is. Then you continue the conversation on Instagram. So converting them to Instagram is actually something that works really well. To my surprise, I also didn't know this. And then cold email, same concept. So you can also use tools to automate like all these messages in any of these platforms. I mean, do it at your own risk. We've at this point tested everything, but with email especially, it's very common. So you can do just mass email campaigns. You can scrape websites for a lot of emails, and reach out to those emails, those influencers based on the parameters you want. There's a lot of tools that also provide that information, like lead providers. But so you can do these mass campaigns, or you can just again do manual. Now the thing I would say is, if you're doing any manual outreach, don't just fucking copy paste a message, because that's the same exact thing a fucking automation tool would do, right? So if you're already losing the time to do manual outreach, actually take time to personalize the message to the person, so the person knows you've actually done a bit of homework. Take 30 seconds, a minute to find something that's going to be valuable for them. Okay, good. So this is the first part, getting creators. You can, on the outreach side of things. Then you have affiliates, right? So once you find good creators, you can make them affiliates. So you can give them money so they find you also good creators. Most of these guys know other creators or know people that want to be creators, right? The best affiliates though are UGC or creator communities. So communities that already provide training to people who want to be content creators. So partnering up with them and giving them a referral fee per creator that you sign is one of the best strategies. So you could do the outreach I was just describing only to these communities, and you'd have insane results. So that's a bit of sauce from the industry, from someone who's done it many times. But yeah, affiliates, the whole thing is around that, and that's also like kind of referrals, right? So once you find good creators you like working with, just give them money for them to find you better creators and people who want to work. So that's kind of the affiliate side of things, and communities are a huge one. And then you have ads, right? The only thing for ads is, again, same concept as getting clients. You need obviously to be compliant with any laws in your location, in your state, in your country. But yeah, just framing what the value proposition is, whatever it is you're offering them, right? And explaining what they need to do, right? So having some sort of funnel where they either apply through a simple forms or book a call, whatever it is, whatever your availability or team's availability is to take these calls. But I always like to run creators through a process wherever they come from. Mine is referrals. So wherever they come from, I like to make them go through a process like initial forums with like 6 questions where we ask for lifetime organic views. Okay, so with all the projects they've done, all their accounts, all of their social media profiles, what's the average total of organic views they've gotten? We ask for where they're located, if they've ever set up, for example, if they're outside of the US, if they've ever set up a US VPN or SIM card, so they could effectively target the US with audiences. We ask for them to link us past accounts. So all this information that's going to really give you an understanding of whether or not this person is good. And you can do that with like 5, 6, 7 questions max. After that initial forms, you'd essentially just have an automatic way of filtering out the bad ones, just with simple drop-down questions, and then filtering out for whatever parameters you set. On the second stage, I would ask for like a Loom video or a video of them recording themselves. This is the best ones. Like, pretend you're recording an actual video, a talking head, for example, and introduce yourself in 20 seconds, right? And you'll see already how they talk and behave in front of a camera. If they're doing it with their phone, like in front of them, it's already a great way for filtering for that. If it's a Loom, I would ask them to like break down a viral video of them and why it worked, right? So and that gives you a bit of an understanding of how good they actually are. You can do this or an interview with the same concept. So it just depends on your availability and your time. Now, pro tip, the interview is much better for negotiation, for you to get better deals, right? And for them to not drop off. So to get higher close rates with these creators and better deals. But again, depends on your time and how much you want to get into it. And then, yeah, essentially that would be the last step of kind of the funnel. And then you would get them in and have some sort of training, right? Most people just throw briefs at creators, just like, yo, here's my product, here's my app, go and do whatever you want. And that's great, man. But most of them don't read it. And that's what you need to realize. So I would give them some sort of training that's just very simple, that touches on, look, this is what we want from you. Like, this is our goal. We want to get more downloads, more users from social media. Below are some videos that we know have driven downloads or users for other apps or for our app, right? For you to you know, and then you'd have like a section breaking down some of those formats for them to understand with like what worked, right? The hooks that were used with like a list, the format, the storyline type of script used, all these things, right? Another pro tip, the level of creative freedom you give them is purely based on their lifetime organic view number. The higher it is, the more freedom they can have because they've done it. They know what they're doing. The lower it is, they're just starting out, someone who wants to get into social media, get into content creation. Not only, you know, obviously their retainer will be lower or their compensation will be more performance focused, but also their freedom or creative freedom in creating content will be much stricter. Okay, so you have to give them more direction. Anyway, this is all on the creator side of things. One of the 4 pillars. So the first one being creator. Now the second one being format. What do I mean by format? There's a few things here. So there's research, there's strategy, and then there's testing, in my opinion. So with research, the best way to do this is take your niche, okay, find out or write out 12 sub niches or keywords, right, within your niche. So if you're in like fitness or health, you do like, you know, weight loss, and then whatever, muscle building, you know, you just list out the 12 keywords within your niche that are the most common. And then you'd search for each of those on Google. And then on Google, you have people always also search for. There's one little thing like that. You have the arrows, and that's actually the most searched questions around that topic. So you'd list out all of those for each of those things. So now you have like a fucking gazillion topics that you can get into that people actually care about, okay, from Google's data around your niche. And this is super important. No one does this, okay? And this is just manual work that you can do, and you can get so much better results by just doing it. And then you have Creator Search Insights, which is another fucking mind-blowing tool that no one uses. You can go to TikTok, go to search Creator Search Insights, click the thing, and then you have a whole SEO analysis on trends, trending topics, keywords, content gaps, which is essentially things people are searching for and there's not enough content to match the demand. That's fucking perfect if you know how to make a video, UGC creator doing a video about whatever that topic is, plugging in your app, and then that's done. Wow, downloads. So, you know, on the research side of things, that's it. Is essentially finding things within your niche that people already give a shit about, okay? That's the whole point. Strategy, then the fucking strategy side. People talk about strategy like it's this fucking buzzword, and the only thing strategy is unlimited opportunities, limited resources. So allocating these limited resources in this fucking unlimited opportunities type of world, right? And excuse my English, I'm Portuguese, so you know sometimes this goes a bit sideways. But the whole thing around strategy then is, okay, you have all these fucking topics. How do you translate these into formats, types of videos, styles of videos that are actually working, that are worth pursuing, right? Because you only have so many creators and you only have so many videos you can put out a month, or you only have so much budget you can use to test, right? So The way to do that is go watch TikTok Shop. There's a bunch of TikTok Shop analytics tools. There's even TikTok itself. Go watch the videos that are driving the most revenue. Go watch the brands that are fucking killing it with affiliate programs on TikTok Shop and figure out what videos they're repeating over and over and over again, right? And you can always or almost always take those winning formats from Shop, from TikTok Shop, and adjust them to your niche, to your own product, to your own app that you're going to push organically, right? Because unfortunately you can't do Shop for apps yet. Okay, so why do I say TikTok Shop? Because you're taking videos that are already proven not only to go viral but to convert to sales. That's the best of both worlds. So you have a fucking holy grail that you can go and watch, and the only skill you need is to be able to take that and adjust the messaging to make sense for your app, for people to convert to your app. Okay, that's it. So that's it. That's what I would do on the strategy side of things. And you have all those topics you can also use for that. And then there's a lot that you can do then with the topics as well, which is essentially just you can there's a lot of good blogs that show you a lot of apps that are scaling. You can just go and study competitor strategies. The only caveat I would say there is don't copy competitors that go viral like once a month. Actually look for the ones that are doing it in a repeatable way. And the other mistake I see people do is they think that they need to follow examples in their exact niche. So I have an astrology app for middle-aged women living in Minnesota. And they think that to have success, they need to find an example of someone that's targeting the exact same people. Like, it's not it. You can find an example of a completely different app, a completely different product, but you can merge that messaging into something that will work for you, right? So on the second part of in the strategy, yeah, just using a bunch of, there's a bunch of blogs you can search for to find other apps that are having success. We have our own blog on our website. There's a lot of other very, very good ones. And then you have, yeah, just searching on TikTok for those keywords, for those frequently asked questions, finding high performing videos and, you know, saving them in some sort of idea bank, right? And then you can categorize them. Are they a lip sync video? So someone looking at the camera and following along with their lips, not actually talking. Are those videos, which ones are talking head videos, which ones are carousels or slideshows, right? And you just categorize them, and those are formats. That's fucking it, right? So you have topics that people already give a shit about with formats that are already working, already getting views on social media, or even better, videos that are already pulling in a fucking whole lot of sales on TikTok Shop. And you just transform those topics into those formats. That's it. Okay, hopefully this isn't too confusing, but I'm trying to also give as much value as possible out here. Then the feedback is the third pillar of the 4 pillars. And what do I mean by feedback? Now, this is straightforward. You can't be flying blind. You need to be looking back at data. You need to be looking back at your content and understand what to cut and what to double down on. Typically, it's very easy. If you're in the 200 view jail, it's a hook problem, full stop. No need to fix anything else, okay? If you have a video that hit 5K views, you're probably onto something, right? So just look back at data, look back at watch rates in the back end on TikTok, on the analytics side of things, and correct for the highest bottleneck. So where's the drop off? Where's the watch? Where do most viewers drop? And fix that point. So do the video again with the same exact thing up until that point, and then fix that point to something better until it starts working. So those are some of the core concepts. And honestly, it's just if you have the right strategy, if you do the right thing, so if you find these concepts, if you find these examples, and you have creators that are, you know, following what you're telling them with the right structure, which can be set up, it's just a matter of volume and time, right? I usually say success in UGC is just volume and strategic direction. So yeah, that's then time, right? And then channels. So the whole thing with channels, I saw a tweet the other day. It was insane. A guy saying like the difference on Instagram from a video with like 11K views and then a million or 10 million, I don't even know, was just the description. That would never happen on TikTok. So what I mean by the channels is different channels have different ways they optimize for traffic, right? So Instagram, YouTube, those are quality platforms that push for audience first content. So if you have a set audience on those platforms, your content will typically be pushed to them first and only then to the For You page. TikTok is the opposite. So they push the For You page first and only then to audience. What this means is in your strategy, when you're thinking about distribution, if you create one piece of content, what I would do is I would focus on TikTok. Let's figure out what works for TikTok. And you take that piece of content, then you repurpose it into all other platforms. However, you need to make it relevant, make it platform specific or platform relevant. This doesn't mean changing the video, but it means changing the way you package it. So like I said, that tweet I saw, making sure the description for Instagram is nailed. Someone there is writing a description that has CTA, that prompts people to comment, whatever. On YouTube, whatever strategy is. So you just need to be able to understand that the distribution of the same piece of content will need to be packaged differently depending on the platform you're doing it on. Okay. For Instagram, for example, just pro tip, what I've seen from hundreds of accounts, thousands of accounts at this point ran is once an account picks up on Instagram, so once you have a breakout video of 10K, 100K views, you shouldn't be pursuing other accounts. You should just double down on that one. And you can repeat winners on Instagram, so you can post them again and again and again. You don't have any issues with an original content. With TikTok, you have a bunch of flags, so all your content needs to be original. And this is not a thing. So that's just a bit of insight. Just package it in a way that's relevant to the platform. So just a quick recap: creator, format, feedback, and channels are the four main things, in my opinion, that influence and make a successful UGC campaign. And for you to have success with this, you need to nail the creator side with, the outreach side of things, affiliates or referrals, ads, whatever it is that you want to do, and having a clear path from creator reached out to creator onboarded with, interview process, forms, training, developing the training, etc. On the format side of things, research, strategy, testing. Okay, so research, figuring out which topics people already give a shit about. Strategy, taking those topics and figuring out how to place them in formats that are already working. And then testing, obviously, seeing which ones are the best. Feedback, doing analysis and iteration. So analyzing the content, watching back what's working, what's not, and iterating to the right places, right? So strategic direction is huge. You can be posting 20,000 videos a month, but if you're posting them for shit that's just no one cares about, or for formats that aren't working, you just won't succeed, or it just will be very inefficient. And then the channels. So multi-channel distribution, packaging your posts in a way that is relevant to the channels you're posting them on, right? And obviously taking one video, one piece of content, and distributing it across as many channels as possible, so you amplify your distribution network. Hopefully this gave you a bit of insight on how to do this. And if you want more insights on this, we have a free ebook. I'll leave it in the description of this video. And if you want to talk to us for us to do this for you, we've built all this infrastructure in the house already at Plutus Media. We've done it for 150 plus apps at this point. So if you want that, there's also a book a call link in the description in our bio. So feel free to book a call with us, and I'm excited to talk to you. Anyway, cheers, guys. Hopefully this gave you some value, and see you soon.